And a quick overview of Trend Micro on a per annum basis, we make around 2.1 trillion, and we are listed on Nikkei at this point in time. So globally, we have 7,250 employees globally, spread across 73 countries. And we are one of the well-known cybersecurity companies that is profitable for the past, 100 over quarters now. In fact, we are a leader in the XDR space, MDR space, and in fact, we have also moved into the CNAP cloud native application at the same time the shift left approach. So I only have 2 slides. So I was told not to go through all the whole product range, which is way too much. Yeah. So Trend, a lot of customers have known us as endpoint provider, but we actually, in fact, we have evolved quite a bit. We have moved on to even doing cloud security, email security, network security, which we are a leader in all the aspect of it. We at the same time has also understands that attack syndicates globally around the world has been taking advantage of poor cyber hygiene and lack of manpower in cybersecurity. That's why we start also offering services like many services and also threat intelligence, which we have, if I remember correctly, we have 18 threat intel centers globally across the world. Yeah. So this is a high-level overview of what we do. And as today's topic is more of Kubernetes, shift-left approach, we also look into that. We actually have file security, container security, which if you are keen to know more, you can reach out to me or any of our employees here, and we can share with you on data. Yeah, I hand over.
Thank you. Thank you, Kelvin. So thank you very much. With that, I would like to call GIneesh, our first speaker, GIneesh, who would be talking about Podman AI Lab. And lucky we have GIneesh here. Today we are going to give 3 book that is written by GIneesh, the Kubernetes Bible. So it's a signed copy that you guys have an opportunity to get a signed copy and a photo with the author himself. Okay. And could you go to Zoom? You can Zoom also.
GIneesh, Z5.K8SUG, right?
Can I use the app?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
And you keep your open, your volume is good. Now you can share your PPT, and then you can just start.
So we are starting now. Thank you, GIneesh.
Share and touch. No.
This one, okay. Oh, actually, I want to share the screen.
Advance, advance.
Okay.
Go to basic. Next up one.
Oh, okay.
Share.
All right. Okay, I think it's good.
Over to you.
Thank you. No way to hide it. Okay. Hello everyone. Good evening. Thanks for joining today. Yeah, more people than it's okay. Okay. Actually, this is a big topic, but unfortunately, we have maybe 30 minutes, so we will do a miniature kind of version. So today, I just want to share with you what is available to do some of the AI stuff. I know everyone is talking about AI, everywhere you go, you will see AI. Yeah. Okay. Out of 90, so out of 190 slides will be AI. This one full of AI. But we want to highlight how you can use AI kind of operations or kind of development in your laptop. Okay. So we have a small agenda for today. We will be talking about Podman. What is Podman? What is Podman desktop? How you can use Podman desktop for the AI kind of hands-on testing, development, etc. Of course, we'll do a small, not demo, but kind of a hands-on, because the demo, it will take more time, the models and all. And of course, the Q&A part. So my name is GIneesh. I'm a consultant, actually, focusing on automation and Kubernetes kind of, that stuff.
GIneesh,
Yep.
bit louder. People
Oh.
cannot hear you.
Okay, sure.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And we will start with the Podman. So what is Podman? Podman is not an alternative. I'm not going to compare it with any other container tools here. So this is a kind of a best rootless container engine. So you don't need a root access to run the containers on your machine. That's a simple definition. Okay. I want to run some services or some application as a container. You need just a service account or a user account, normal user account, developer account, whatever account you have. Of course, it's open source container engine. This rootless architecture help you to run containers without root access. You don't need a sudo access or privilege access. Then the good thing about Podman is the enhanced security. By default, it's secure. You don't need to enable, but when you run a Podman container, actually it's running with all the best practices in place. So this is a good thing. Of course, it's a Docker compatible because you are working with the Docker containers, Docker commands. If you check on the right side, you can see most of the commands are similar to the Docker one: Docker commit, Docker start, Docker run, almost everything, and some additional commands. So that's a good thing. So it's already compatible. So if you are already using Docker, I don't think you will face any issues when you start with the Podman. And it's designed to work with the OCI compatible containers. Hope you know OCI is an open container initiative. And also it has all the support for most of your, I'll say all of your application runtime. So I never seen anyone talking about runtime issues with the Podman. Now, what is Podman desktop? Because when you do the development or kind of work, it's not easy to remember all the commands. You want something UI. You click here and start some container, clean up the images, download the container images. You need some UI. Docker desktop, it's similar to the Docker desktop, but we call it a Podman desktop. And Podman desktop also is a free and open source. There is no license, nothing involved here. And this is the kind of a easiest way to manage your containers, images, even the pods. Yeah, it's not the Kubernetes pod, but the pods from your desktop. And the good thing, it will work on macOS, Windows, or Linux. All supported. So if you're using Windows laptop, yeah, still can use it. But in the backend, there is no native container engine on macOS or Windows. You have to use some Podman machine or Docker machine, something inside in that backend. Now for the desktop part, why it's recommended, because you can do almost most of the container operations from your desktop. Because let's say I want to talk to some Kubernetes clusters, or I want to spin up some Kubernetes cluster very quickly. I don't need to run any commands or something I need to remember. I can just go to the Podman, go to my settings and just spin up a cluster. I just need to tell how many nodes I require. It will just spin up the local Kubernetes cluster, maybe a few minutes. You don't need to worry about how to build the cluster, creating the certificates, do the kubectl command, nothing to require. Also, you can connect your OpenShift local. If you know OpenShift local is a local version, it's like a mini cube, or the small version of the OpenShift. Or you can connect to your OpenShift sandbox or even a real cluster from your Podman. So you can directly deploy into the OpenShift or prod or dev environment. So that's the Podman desktop part. Now, the good thing, I believe some of you might already read this news. Red Hat already announced, they already contribute these container tools such as Podman, Podman Desktop, Bootsy, Builder, Composer, and Scorpio. Maybe new to use, but these tools are already contributed to CNCF. So again, it's more good, actually, more community members, more contributors, you are getting more and more improved tool. Now, what is a Podman AI lab? Basically, if I ask you, anyone tried the AI, running some models, do some chats, anyone try already?
Ulama.
Ulama, okay, good, yeah. How easy it is or how difficult it is?
Not too bad.
Not too bad, okay. So, you have to install some packages, you have to set up some environment, then you have to do some commands, you have to install some container tools if you are using containerization. The good thing about Podman AI Lab, it's just an extension. You just go to the extension, enable or install it, that's it. And the good thing, most of your well-known AI operations can be done from the Podman AI Lab itself. You don't need any CLI tool, but if you want to use some CLI tools, it's already available. I'll show you that later. The good thing is it's privacy focused. Of course, no latency because you are doing it from your laptop or your workstation. Of course, the latency will be depending on your capacity, the CPU or memory you are using. Of course, you need some decent laptop or workstation for that. And the Podman AI Lab is coming with a lot of good things. I like this part actually. So let's say I am very new to AI. I want to know how it's working, what is the model, what is in, what is it, how can I tune the temperature, how can I pass these parameters. If I'm using the CLI, I need to know a lot of commands, okay, or whatever the tools we are using. Now, I just want to try a chat app. What you can do, there is a recipe catalog. It's like the pizza bundle, right? You don't know what to eat, right? You just go to the bundle, there are promotions, you just select, it's coming with, it's like a meals package. It's like a recipe, it's already here. What do you have to do? Go to the recipe, find your favorite one. Let's say you want to try a chat application or RAG application or RAG chatbot, or you want to try with some audio to text, some application, but you don't want to Google or search all over the internet, find the GitHub, find the, the source code, some scripts to do it. The AI Lab extension will help you. You just click on that one. It will simply tell you what to do. It's just start the button. It will download the AI, the model image for you. It will start the application and it will also expose the API. You just click on that and it will open a chat window or whatever the application you are using. That's it. You don't need to know, because our focus is on learning AI or maybe doing some development, not learning like setting up the environment. Now, let's say I want to use some other models and do some operations or some kind of learning from that type. We have almost all well-known models available here. Let's say it's not available, you can always import it. So let's say my model is already downloaded in a GGUF or some format on my laptop or somewhere else. I can just import it. I can drag and drop and it will be part of your model catalog. Now, what is Playground? So Playground is something, I would say it's like something you can interact with the model. So let's say you have a model, just downloading the model and just serving the model will not make any sense. You have to interact with the model to know what this model is doing, right? It's a chat model, it's a text to image generation model. What is a model? So we don't have that application to interact. Let's say you go to ChatGPT or Gemini, you are interacting with a model in the backend. It can be multiple model. You are talking to some API, something like that. But actually, you are getting a nice interface where you can type, hey, generate an image for me, generate some text for me. It's talking to the backend application, some API, then to the model. We don't have that application, we don't have that API. So in that case, you can use the Playground, then use a model, then you can start and create a Playground. What will happen? It will give you some interface to talk to the model, interact with the model, fine-tune the model, like fine-tune the temperature. Hope you are okay with that. temperature is something, there are some parameters you can fine tune in the AI model development environment. I will show you that later. This is the place. So you can pass this parameter like temperature, max token, then top parameters, all are possible in the same Podman AI lab window. This is a good thing. So I can just start some model, then I can, hey, how are you? What is OpenShift? What is Kubernetes? Maybe it will tell you wrong thing because it's not fine-tuned. What you can do, you can teach the model. Okay, this is what is K8SUG. Maybe the model doesn't know about it. You can teach the model what is the the information. Now, this is the serving part. So let's say I want to start some chatbot. There are a lot of chat UI available to talk to the model, but you don't want to install it separately. You want to run this in a container or some web application, then connect to the model, then you have to pass the token. A lot of heavy lifting is happening here. You start the recipe, actually, it will expose a web interface. So you can actually do the same ChatGPT or Gemini stuff, but the data is from your side. So the model is from your side. Nothing is going outside. Nothing is going to the internet. That's a good thing. So everything you are testing internally in your laptop is not going to the internet. Why? So this is the best part. So everyone is talking about AI, and always we have this worry, right? Can I just copy paste the log from my Kubernetes cluster or something to ChatGPT? No. You can by cleaning up all the sensitive information like IP address, maybe some token, some username, can be anything. You cannot trust, right? There is no trust when you copy to the ChatGPT or some other tools. But if you have a local AI setup, you can easily do it. You want some help and you don't have time to clean up, you can easily do it in on-premise because the privacy is because your data is still inside your laptop or workstation or maybe your server. Latency is reduced because this is your own model, your own AI setup. No one else is using, maybe shared inside your environment, and it's a good thing. You can control your capacity. It's fully offline development. You don't need to worry about internet connection, and of course, cost effective because you are not using any cloud resource. Basically, you are using your laptop or maybe some servers or workstation as a backend. And we have the full control on the AI environment and all the dependencies. Now, what is Instruct Lab? Anyone heard about Instruct Lab? Okay, Instruct Lab is something another open source tool. Basically, it leverages the taxonomy-based synthetic data generation, and the good thing is it's free. Anyone can try today. That's a stage. Let's say you can take it's like a container. I'll give you an example based on that container thing, right? You take a container-based container. What do? You add more and more application dependencies. Then finally, you have your application containers. Same thing here. You can take a base model. Of course, we are not going to create a base model. That's something the data scientists and all they all do. So we take the base model, then we add our information or skills or knowledge to the model. Then we prepare our own model after fine tuning. Then we use it as our production model. So the data is so you can always load, always teach all your internal data because it's not going outside. Let's say you have proprietary information or company information, organization information. You don't want to post it on the internet. You can teach the model because the model stay inside your environment. It's not going anywhere. So Instruct Lab is helping on that part. You can fine tune it. You can rebuild the model. You can do most of the things here using I don't want to go in detail again. You can do the teaching or the stuff inside. I will give you some slides so it will be more meaningful. So this is the high level summary. So what will happen? You can pass the taxonomy driven data to Instruct Lab and convert it into the large scale synthetic data. So this is the AI topic, but I'm not going to go in deep. This is something we are not going to do. So once you have this synthetic data, you can do it for the model training. So you train the model, say, hey, what is K8SUG? What is OpenShift? How to deploy something here? How to do that here? So everything is happening inside your organization. So you don't need to worry about the data privacy. You don't need to worry about any sensitive information. Okay. So everything is I mean, we explain everything. How to do it? You can do it in the same Podman AI Insect Lab. Because if you check here, there is a try Insect Lab option. You can install Insect Lab on your laptop or your machine directly. But if you have Podman AI Lab, you don't need to do that kind of. You just click and start the container, and that's it. It will just spin up one InstaClap container. Inside you have all these commands already available. You just need to run in the commands and do the work. Like a ready to use environment for your model fine tuning. Okay, we will do some kind of hands-on now. Still on time, I hope. So remember that when you install Podman desktop, it may pop up some error like, okay, you need some minimum memory because your model is already 5 GB, but if you are running below, 5 GB, then it will throw error. It will say, please increase your memory, something like that, because the model, models are not like a 50 KB or 550 MB, it's all like a 5 GB, 6 GB, depends on your model size. So make sure you have some good capacity machines. I will give you the reference later. Okay, so this is the, oops. Hold on. Ritesh, hope the Zoom still okay. Okay, then I'm not touching that. Okay. So this is a Podman desktop UI. Very simple and clean. So you can see some of the important information. Yes, you can see the some of the gates, like how to work with the Kubernetes, how to work with the Podman, then also how to start some applications like a CloudCasa application or how to containerize a Spring Boot application. Everything is already there. Click a quick start. If you scroll down, you can see what is the Podman version I'm using on my laptop. This is from my laptop. And if I want to connect to my developer sandbox, so this is a free development environment from Red Hat. Anyone can sign up and use it in case you want to test something on OpenShift. You get the OpenShift cluster access. If you already log in, it will be connected, and that details will be collected here. Then if I want to run some OpenShift cluster locally on my laptop, if I have the capacity, I can run it here. Again, depends on the capacity. I cannot run all together because it's not that big machine. It says already installed but not ready. Maybe it's not started. Then if I check, I can see my containers here. Then I can see all the running ports, stop ports, etc. Then these are the images. It's like a very similar to the any other container management tool. What we are going to explore here is the AI lab. So the Podman AI lab is basically help you to quickly deploy your AI application. So the one I mentioned earlier, recipe catalog. So if I want to deploy a chatbot, I just need to click here and you can see it's spawning some application stack from the GitHub or some repository and spin up the application with a model and give you some interface. That's it. I'm not going to do that. It will take some time. I don't think I have any. So it's stopped already. So if I check the running application, I have something here, but not yet started. Then the catalog is here. I can also see the exposed services. That means some web interface or something like that. Then this is the playground. So playground, I mentioned, let's say I want to start with a Granite model, say test, okay. I can quickly create the playground. So now I have a playground with one model running. What I can do, I can click on this model. So you can see this, I can even fine tune the model, how to behavior, some other parameters, etc. Then let me see if I can move this somewhere here. Sorry for that. So this is the chat. So I don't need to write a Python or some Node.js application to interact with the model. It's already available. So I can say maybe hi. Hopefully it will respond. So it will interact with the model. So you can find in all those background information here. You want to try something? Wow. Okay, what is Kubernetes? You should ask.
They should know.
They should know, it's important.
They should know.
So we asked what is Kubernetes? I think my spelling, okay.
It's okay.
So it's basically, you are interacting with the model, then you can ask the question, then you will know, because you know the biasing, all those political issues, right? Some models, you have no idea what is the learning of model. So you can do all those cleaning, all those additional tuning. Maybe you don't want to expose anything like a sensitive information. Let's say you teach everything to a model, but if the user asks, okay, what is the annual revenue of company? The model may reply. So based on some kind of fine tuning, you have to fine tune all those things information. So that's where the Instruct Lab is helping you to fine tune the model, build your own model and serve it for the internal use. Maybe you are using the Copilot or something in the environment. I don't know. Yeah, some are already, so many organizations already started using Copilot with some kind of fine tuned model, but that's again internet. But if you have something, I'm not talking about the Podman AI Lab is going to serve, but this place you can fine tune and do all these operations. Okay, yeah, it's very slow. I will stop this here. Yeah, so this is the part. It will give you the pod details, and this is Insert Lab. So Insert Lab, if you are interested to fine tune all the model, all those things, please, there are a lot of videos and gates already available. Just check it out and should be interesting. Then this is the Insert Lab one. If I want to start something, I don't want to install Insert Lab on my laptop because every time it's a new version. So instead, I am just creating a container for the Insert Lab and using it. So this container is already started, I hope. Yeah, I can check iLab version. So it's already the, so like few minutes, I can start my Insert Lab commands, fine tune the model, do all this operation very quickly. Yep, that's it for the Podman AI Lab. Please explore it. And if you have any question, you can reach out us anytime. Any questions? I think that's it from my side. On time. So we will share the slides later. I will share it with the team and they will share it via the channel. So there are some links available to learn about Podman, Podman Desktop, AI Lab, and also some of the videos, how to use Insert Lab. Everything is available, but if you need any information, like something you are stuck, you want to learn, please let me know. Questions?
How much RAM is in your laptop?
This is 32.
Wow. GPU?
I don't think so.
No GPU. The CPU?
Maybe the normal one.
The 2 gigs, 7 billion parameter model, really slow.
Slow, yes, exactly. It's very slow. Luckily, it responded. Yeah, so yeah, any questions? I'll be here if you have any more questions. That's it.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ginny.
Yeah, sure.
Pod AI Lab is interesting. Offline AI development. Yeah.
Hey guys, now I'll start the second session. Welcome, good evening everyone. I'm Alok, you have already met me in the entrance, okay? So
Okay, we are on Zoom. Okay, perfect. Okay, so the common thing which is permission, I'm not sure if you can see here. Okay. So the management group, subscription, resource group, and resource, these are the 4 levels where we can provide a scope to an identity. We'll see in the next slide. Okay, let me take this away. Okay. First, we are talking about permissions. Permissions can be of many kinds. In general, in Azure, there are more than 7,000 permissions. Okay, you cannot have all. Okay, so these permissions are divided into some resource categories. Okay, so if you can see, there are around 19 categories of resources, and each category has around, say, 200 to 500 permissions. Okay, among those, which one do you need? How do you understand? That depends on which particular resource in Azure you're working on. Because we are working on Kubernetes, or here we are talking about Kubernetes, I'll go in the container category. Okay, this is the category in which
you do it by doing
Kubernetes,
your cup,
or
just see the
in,
cup first.
in general AKS.
No need. I'm not going to do any work. I need to go and put things up, then
Azure.
people are coming to collect candles.
I just clicked on that link and it took me to a Azure page where we are talking about Microsoft.Container Service category, and it is used for Azure Kubernetes Service, that is AKS. Okay, we'll come back on that page. But first, what is this permission? How it is defined? What is its format? Its format is company. I'm unable to take this up. Okay, company dot provider name dot resource type dot action. Company is always Microsoft till the time the permission is offered by Microsoft, but there are other permissions which are offered by third party. When a third party tool is integrated, the company will also be. Okay, and then provider name. Here you can see the example, Microsoft.Container Service. So the provider name is container service. How many provider names can it be? There are many. Okay, so I'm in particular talking about the provider name container service here. Then the resource types can be apps, deployments, resource provider, pod, replica sets, then storage, volumes, everything that we see in a container or a Kubernetes, that can be your resource type. Okay, so this is a format of a particular permission. Okay, you need to understand this. Later we'll see further how can you classify more when you require your own permission, when you get some kind of error 403. Okay, so going back to the documentation page again, Microsoft.Container Service. Okay, here's a container service, and if I scroll here, all these are permissions, and permissions are with the same format as we talked about. There is company name, provider name, type, and there is an action. Okay, and if I keep scrolling this, I have more than 200 to 250 permissions here. Out of which one do you need? Okay, out of which you need something which goes with cluster managed cluster. Do you see the managed cluster? So every permission which is related to AKS inside is related to managed cluster. Okay, so if I keep entering and finding, I'll get more than 600. If you see above, can you see it? Okay, do you see how many permissions I have? I have 613 permissions for managed cluster. Among this, which one you need, that depends on which action you want to take. Okay, so this is my format of a permission. Let's go ahead to role definition. A role definition, I want to zoom here because this slide is a bit big. Okay, a role definition, it contains permissions only. A group of permission is a role definition. But then while grouping the permission, there are two different categories of permissions. One is called as control plane action, and second is called as data plane action. What are control plane action in short? Okay, we have resource. AKS is a resource, right? So that resource has to be updated, deleted, configured. All these things are related to a particular resource in AKS. Are we talking about anything in pod that is running? No. Anything that is running inside the pod, anything that is data specific, okay, that comes under data plane actions. And everything that is only related to resource are the control plane actions. Okay, so all the 200 to 50 permissions that we have seen can be classified into two different things. Okay. Among that, action and not action. Let's say I'm saying one of the permission give a X user all the access to the management group or the managed cluster, but do not give action to upgrade that cluster. Give action that to all cluster, but one particular thing I don't want to give, that I'll be adding in non-action. Okay, so this is again list of permission. I'll showcase to you. It is just a JSON, is nothing new. But then which particular permission you need to give, that matters. See, data pane action. I want him to access all the data inside a storage account, all the files, blobs, everything. But I want to restrict him to a particular blob storage. Can I do that? Yes, by adding it to non-data action. But in short, so this is a superset, this is a subset. I'll give access to superset, and to subset I'll block him. That's how the role is configured among these four sets of things. A part of that, how many of you know that there are two RBAC systems running in Azure? There are two RBAC systems running in Azure. One is for the Microsoft Entra Azure AD, and second is Azure roles. Microsoft Entra, previously we used to call it AAD, Azure Active Directory, right? That is one of the entity, and second is the Azure roles. Why these are two RBAC systems? One, to manage only the users, groups, applications, SaaS apps, authentication, authorization, but of users, okay, and groups. In the Azure role, it allows you to access the Azure resources like Kubernetes, AKS, storage account. We have around 200 resources in Azure, right? If you list down. So all these resources can be controlled. Their RBAC can be controlled by Azure roles. But all the user groups, identities, authentication, SaaS, SSO, everything can be controlled through the Microsoft Entra Azure. This is very important to understand. There is no one RBAC. There are two RBAC systems running in Azure. And we are more talking about the Azure roles, okay? Because we are communicating to Kubernetes, and Kubernetes is one of the Azure resources, okay? So I guess this is clear. This is how it looks. Azure role, okay? Roles and administrator. That is the Microsoft Entra ID. From here, you can control the roles and administration. And for the Kubernetes resources, as we all know, we go to the access control IAM, this thing. Okay. If I go directly to here, let me know if the last person can see my screen. Sir, can you see the screen? Okay. Okay. So if I go here in the Microsoft Entra ID, if I see the roles and administrations, these are the roles that can be applied to users. Which are the users? Okay. So in administration, we can add the users and do the RBAC. I'm not getting inside more. I want to show you more inside the Azure RBAC. That is Kubernetes. Okay, access control IAM. So this is the second RBAC where we can control any of the access of a user, add role assignment. So the roles that you see here are not equivalent to the roles that we see in the Microsoft Entra ID. So I hope you are clear about the difference between two. Okay. Now, assignment scope is something that we can talk about. The assignment scope is not the scope where a user will get access. It's not, okay, because it is part of the role. here we are talking about where this role can be assigned. Okay. This may not make sense for the default roles or the roles offered by Azure, but we also have the custom role, right? We can create custom roles. There we can say in which particular subnet, to subnet or network resource group or on the management group, we can assign that role. Okay, so that is the assignment scope. It will all glue together when we'll go in the demo. Right now, you can just understand what a complete role definition is. Okay. Now the role assignment. Role assignment is very simple. We talked about the role definition name. So in the role assignment, there are a few things that are required. One is role definition name or the role definition ID. Because in the previous scope, we said there is a role definition name and role definition ID. ID is always given by Azure. Okay. Name we can configure when we are configuring our own custom role. So that we need to give here. The scope is where a person has to get that access. Should that access be on management group, subscription, resource group level, or to only a particular resource? That we need to tell inside the scope. These are the basic things that we need to provide about the role assignment, a display name, what name that you wish to give, assignment ID, assignment name, and some description about it. But my interest is on this side, to which entity I'm adding that role to. That is the object ID or principal ID of a user group, management ID, workload ID, or service principal. And if at all I am working with security groups or management identities, then I'll have the object ID and the principal ID that I can attach to a role assignment. Okay, let's go ahead. How do we configure a particular RBAC in Kubernetes? Because Kubernetes itself has its own RBAC, as we know, right? By default, that RBAC has been enabled. If I want to use the Azure RBAC and I want to use the users which are present in the Entra ID, then I need to switch the authentication and authorization, which is given in the security configuration, to Microsoft Entra ID authentication with Azure RBAC. Till the time you don't do this, your configuration will never work. Okay. And the internal RBAC of Kubernetes will work. And that is a bit limited if you are working on cloud like Azure. So this is the minimum requirement that is required. Okay, let's start a demo now. What are the things that we'll do in the demo? First, we'll see how many users that I have in my Entra from portal and from console. Because I'm a DevOps guy, I will never leave console behind. Okay, we never work on the portal, but for you to understand, we'll always go through the portal as well. Okay, then how to filter right role, right? We started with the problem statement that you are unable to access something. Okay, and we need to figure out which role you require. So that role will be filtering out and then assigning that role to the user, validating user access. We'll understand one important concept called as orphan RBAC assignment in Azure and why this situation should not occur, because in some cases, this could be your reason to get that 403 forbidden. Okay, and then finally, we'll see about the custom role definition. We'll create the role definition our own. Okay. So these are the built-in roles. I told you, right? There are many 200 plus permissions, and combining that, there are a few built-in roles that are offered by Azure. These are the 6 built-in roles that are offered by Azure. Okay. So what we'll do in this demo is we'll create all these 6 users. Okay. And add the associated roles to it. But how did I find out that these are the only 6 roles? Okay. For that, we need to go to our console. Okay. This is a GitHub repository I have. It is open source. You can also access it right now, and this will be available for you in the future as well. Okay. So in the Azure, I'm going through the Azure RBAC process. Okay. I want to understand if I'm at all working with a storage account, I want to know how many roles that are offered by Azure. So I'll be using one of the command that is AZ role definition list minus minus name any resource. For now, I'm selecting storage account. Then we'll go for the AKS as well. Okay. So if I just copy paste this one and paste it in my terminal, I see a big JSON, don't like it, minus O table. Okay, I have one role already offered. That is, this is the storage blob data read role. Okay, that is one of the role offered. Let's go back and let's filter the Kubernetes roles. Okay, the query that I'm writing, clear paste. The query that I'm writing is it role definition list, and I'm using the CLI query, just like we have a database query, right? To filter out from the database. Here, to filter out from the JSON structure, I'm using this query parameter. I'm listing out role name with the condition that the role name should contain Azure Kubernetes Service. And from that, we have talked about the data action and the resource group action, right? So that is data action role and action length. Both I'm printing out so that I'll be knowing how many roles offered by Azure for Kubernetes, how many of them offers the data role, and how many of those roles only offer the resource group level access. Do you see? Bunch of roles. Among that, what I'm interested in, the Kubernetes service cluster admin, cluster user, contributor, RBAC cluster admin, and till this. Okay. After this policy add-on, I'm not including for now, and rest of it is for Arc. Arc is different service offered by Azure, not the managed Kubernetes, and then hybrid I'm skipping. So my important roles are these 6 roles. Okay. From the name, you can understand, yes, cluster admin role should be the powerful role. Okay, should have all the accesses, maybe cluster user role, and then comes the RBAC admin, RBAC reader, RBAC write. RBAC reader, yes, we know it will read, only give the read access, right? But then let's understand, let's deep dive inside. Okay, I have a, I need to, okay, let me do. AZAD user list minus O table. These are the users that I have in my Microsoft Entra. I've already created these users, user 1 to user 6 for a demo. Okay. And if I want to see how many assignments are already done, then I'll use AZ role assignment list minus minus all, because from all scopes I need to get it, and then minus O table to get it in tabular format. Okay, right now you cannot see any user got any role. So we have users here, but we do not have any of the RBAC roles associated to this. Okay, so if at all I will go and log in here. Okay, I'm right now in under the scope. I'll try to sign in. with user 1, do you see any subscription? I'm not attached to any subscription. So definitely if I am not attached to any subscription, I should not see any Kubernetes role as well because I am not authorized. Let's give the authorization to the users, to all 6 users. I've created an Ansible playbook for that. Okay. Sorry, I need to type from one hand only. Okay, this RBAC setup, when I run, what will happen? This is the list of users I've created, and every list has RBAC section into it. So this is user 1. User 1 is getting 2 roles associated to it. One is the contributor role, second is the cluster admin role. Okay, this is just like the way we have spoken here. User 1 is having cluster admin role. Likewise, all the users are added here, and the playbook that I am writing, executing, this playbook should give all the accesses runtime to these users. If you want to understand what this playbook is, how it is run, how it is configured, I have created a playlist in the YouTube channel, which is from scratch, how to set up this project, what are the tools required, how to use Ansible, how to run this playbook, everything is included. And I've started already this RBAC series that we are talking about and way more inside that playlist. So definitely you can go through it later. But right now, we need to add RBACs to all the 6 users. So I thought a playbook will be much better. Okay, so all 6 users got the RBAC. So if I again go and see the assignment list, okay, previously we only were seeing these many assignments. Now you see the new assignments attached to all 6 users from user 1 to user 6. But there are different roles. User 1 brought cluster admin role, user 2 brought cluster user role, cluster admin, RBAC reader, and RBAC write operation. Among that, which one do you think is the most powerful? Any guesses? 6 roles looks like this. Okay. Which user should have access to all the Kubernetes cluster? Any guesses? No harm. Huh? Cluster admin? Any more guesses?
RBAC admin.
RBAC admin, right? Which one? The number? Number 4? Okay, sounds good. Let's see. Okay, so to prove this, let's see and directly log into user 1 because now we have the user in our AD and we have already given him the authorization. Right now, I've already logged in with user 1. Let's try to refresh. Once I refresh, do you see? Now I can see my AKS cluster. Okay, so AKS. What is user 1? User 1 is Azure Kubernetes Service Cluster Admin role. I've given the cluster admin role to this user. Let's understand what is cluster admin role first. Okay, I'm going to the role. And here I'm typing cluster admin role. Do you find here? Cluster admin role? No. Cluster admin role. Do you see this? Cluster admin role, if I view it, these are the permissions that are offered for this role. Okay. The permission is read, get managed cluster, read cluster admin credential, run command, and something related to profile list credentials. I like this view better. This is the JSON view where you can see at the same time the way we discussed about the permission action, not action, data action, not data action. Everything related to resource group will come into the action, but there is no data associated. When I say no data associated, you cannot see pods, you cannot see replica sets, you cannot see anything which is related to data. Okay, but anything which is data related, oh my, this is empty. Everything which is data related is empty. So do you think this person can see anything related to workloads? No. Okay, that's our conclusion. So let's prove this one. I'll go in the overview. I go to namespace. What do you see? 403 forbidden. Okay, we first concluded what will happen, and now we are verifying if that's working as it is or not. Workloads 403 again blocked. Cluster configuration should be okay. Cluster configuration is part of the resource. Okay, so anything which is related to settings, if you see, I'm just switching up, anything related to settings, a person can do. That's why it is a cluster admin role. Okay, but nothing related to workloads, nothing related to storage, nothing related to we have secrets, config maps, and everything. He cannot do anything. Who is the right person to get this role? A person who is purely an infra guy, okay, who is just setting up the infra. This role is sufficient for him because he needs to update the cluster, he needs to make sure that things are working, upgraded, and nodes are present. Okay, node pool he can see. Can he see nodes? Can he see nodes? No, because nodes come into the data. Once you see the node, you will understand the data layer. Okay, that's the bifurcation. Good, we understood one role. I don't want to take much of the time, but we'll go to the second role. Second role is almost similar to the cluster user role. What happens is there is always a back entry key to every system, right? The back entry key in Kubernetes is while getting the credential, we can give a minus minus admin as a flag when when we pull a configuration just like this. This is how we pull the configuration. Get credentials. What happens? This get credentials when we run. This is the first thing that you need to run. AZ login, get credentials, and then convert that Q file that we get in .q folder here to understand for the Kubernetes. Okay. So at last, if I give minus minus admin, and if it let me allow, you are the king of the system. You can do anything that means on the data layer, on the resource level, anything you can do. But what I did in the Kubernetes configuration, when I was setting up this Kubernetes, I blocked that because that's not the right way to configure a Kubernetes system. So coming back, user and one and user two, the difference is only user one has that power of using minus minus admin and bypass all the gates. User two do not have it. Rest of it, all the standards are same user for user two as well. Let's check quickly and then move forward. I'm switching to my user two. Okay, user two also can see AKS. IAM roles. IAM roles, can he add the roles? He is blocked to add role to any other. So IAM roles are blocked. He cannot access. He can access namespace. No, he cannot access workload. He cannot access. But once we get into the cluster settings and configuration, he can do anything he wants. Okay. So we are clear about these two roles, Kubernetes service cluster admin and cluster user. Let's go for the RBAC. Okay. And to go for the RBAC, let's go back to what we have understood when we were filtering the roles. This was the query that we have added. Okay. And while adding the query, I specially printed can a user do any of the data related role and how many permissions are assigned. Can you see related to all RBACs, there is some number against that in the data role. But in the action length, which is the regular resource level action, anything and everything can be done. So data layer is always protected and only these four roles can access to the data. Let's go ahead. We are talking about RBAC cluster admin. If I go to roles, I go to role, RBAC cluster admin. Do you find it here? RBAC, no, fleet. RBAC cluster admin, this is the one. Let you manage all resources and cluster. View, my favorite section, the JSON side. Okay, what he can do? In the actions, he can read everything. When I say star, it is accessing all the permutation and combination of the resources. Subscription, he can do read, read. I'm not interested in action. He can access it. We know. I'm interested in data. Do you see? First time we are seeing something in data. Previously, this section was blank. And what is saying? Manage cluster / star. That means each and every offering that we have, each and every role that we have, we have seen here, right? The permission. So each and every permission that we have, he has access to it. Okay, that means it is star. So if I access this particular user, that is user number 3, he should be able to access everything inside the cluster. Let's go switch the user. User number 3. He can see the AKS. IAM roles, can he do? No, he cannot do IAM roles. But what can he do? He can see the namespaces. He can see the workloads. He can see the workloads as well. Wow. So this is the first role that we got who can access the data layer. Can he also see the cluster configuration and node pool? He can. Node pool also he can see. Can he see nodes? He can see nodes as well. So this is the first RBAC which can give you access to cluster sites as well and to the data layer, that is workload as well. But what he cannot do, he cannot assign roles to someone else from IAM. If I go to IAM, he cannot assign. So his yet powerful role, he can do everything in Kubernetes, only blocking one thing, he cannot give another person any RBAC. Okay, good. So we are here. Azure Kubernetes Service RBAC admin. This is the next role. With when RBAC comes, we already understood that he can access the cluster, right? But there will be something that he cannot do. Let's find out what he cannot do. Kubernetes Service RBAC admin. In here, I've already created nodes for all the users. If you're talking about RBAC admin, to simplify things, I've written the permissions here. What are the permissions offered? He can read authorization, not action, manage cluster star. Data action has managed cluster star. It is just like previous one, but now there is something that is he cannot do, which is added in non-data action. In the previous role, this was empty. He was able to do anything and everything related to data, but here he has some restrictions. He cannot see resource quota and namespace read and write. Do you see this? He cannot see the namespace. I mean, he can see, but cannot update or delete it. So he will be able to see though. Okay, so this is our 4th user. Let's see it quickly. Okay. Different role. User number 4. And here you go. Okay. He can see the namespaces. He cannot delete it. IAM. He cannot add, but he can see the workloads. Where is it? He can see the workloads. Okay. Similarly, we have the RBAC reader. As reader says, he can read everything inside the cluster. I don't need to go through it. And then we have the RBAC write. RBAC write is interesting. I'll take only 1 minute. We need to conclude. Okay, inside the nodes, we have the RBAC admin. You see the data actions are specified very specific. A person can do anything related to daemon set, deployment, replica sets, stateful sets, everything, the regular workloads in Azure. He can access jobs, configuration, and this. But is there something that he cannot do? No, there is nothing in cannot do, but this is very specific. Here he did not say manage cluster.star. So it is very specific, but he can still see the workloads. Okay. That is the user number 6. I guess you can do your homework and you can just play around with this and understand more on this. So now at least you got the answer that where you might be going wrong. If you want to access a storage account, you need to see the role that is assigned to you. Does it has any permission related to storage account? If not, then you need to see which role offers that particular storage account permission, and then you can guide to the person who is admin of your organization that this is the particular role that I want. What if that role doesn't have, no one has that role? Then you can create your own role by simply creating a custom role. Custom role creation is very simple. I've already documented here. Okay. We need to give a custom role.json. It is just any other JSON that we saw, but what matters is what you add into data action, not data action, and these parts. Okay. Here, I have added a person should have access to the entire cluster, but should not be able to access the namespace. Make sense? Superset and subset. He has access to the entire superset, but do not have access to namespace on this section. If I want, I can create this role quickly. Ritesh, how much time we have? 5 minutes. 5 minutes, right? So I can complete this part. Okay. I already have this custom roles here. If I paste, a custom role is created. Okay. Right now, I have not attached this custom role to anyone. Then let's assign the custom role that we have on the scope of this to a particular user. Which was the user who did not had any access to the data layer? User number 1, 2, 3. Okay, who had access only to the clusters. Let's choose the user number 1, that is cluster admin role. So user 1, we are giving this custom role. Going here, paste, enter. We are giving access on the subscription scope. So now what happens is if I go to, I'll show from the UI because one hand is really tough to do the commands. But if I go IAM, role assignments, now you can see the user 1 has the access to custom role that I have created. Custom role, full data access, user 1 is having that access. Okay, so right now I am in user number 4. Let's log out and log in with user number 1. Previously, when we were on the screen with user number 1, he was able to access the section related to settings and everything. But now let's see if you can see the namespace is blocked. Why? Because I've said everything related to data other than the namespace. So he should be able to see the workloads. He can see the workloads. He can see all the pods, replica sets, stateful sets, daemon sets, and everything. So this is how a custom role can be created, and you can anytime pull this particular repository to follow along. So yeah, we can then delete the custom role using the AZ role delete assignment, and then you can literally delete the definition as well. So yeah, this is all I wanted to share about the RBAC. I believe you understood something with this session. Basic thing, right? RBAC is very basic, but where you are running, in which environment, and what are the rules about that environment about RBAC, that matters. And that's what I was trying to share here. Okay, that was my time. Thank you so much, guys. Yeah.